It's hard to influence something different when you're matching. You sort of getting that? It's easy to hear, isn't it, when you're not in the hot seat? So everything that happens moment by moment is a match. And so we don't want you to lose your mind over it and be worried about what you're matched to. But if, when you get a chance and you're on your own, you are looking for the easy existing matches, here's our promise to you. We started out years ago with a book of positive aspects. And these days, we're calling it easy existing matches, because in the book of positive aspects, people were really knowing that they don't like that quality or that trait or that experience in someone. And so then they were pivoting and saying, what I want is this. And so then they were using words or lip service, but they weren't feeling it. And so then they'd get frustrated because they were speaking positive aspects, but they weren't getting any. So it made them feel like something was wrong with Abraham's theory, or they just weren't doing it right. When we began saying, just find a match that already feels good. What is the existing match matching? When we ask you to look for an easy existing match, we mean something that comes to your mind easily and that it matches feeling good. It's something you really know you're leaning positive when you find it. So as you look for easy, already existing, you don't need to change for me, these existing matches already exist. What happens is that becomes your shared experience more often. Therefore, that becomes the way the momentum flows more often. Therefore, that's the way you both begin leaning that way more often. You see how it works? Mm-hmm. When you say, I'm not going to do that anymore, don't you find yourself thinking about that all day long? When you try to use willpower to keep yourself from doing something that you're vibrationally attracting, you're in deep doo-doo. Because there's not enough action in the world to compensate for the vibration that you got going. So what this conversation is really about is a lot of people do not understand their own momentum. But you know how you can come to understand it? You started out with your question, just like this. Your mood or attitude. What's your usual mood? That's how you trend. What's your usual attitude or mood? That's how you trend. And so you're saying, well, my trend is one thing and his trend is another. And we say, yeah, except for when you're thinking about him and his trend. Then you trend with him. Then you're a match to him. So let's say he's leaning negative, just for fun. Let's say he's leaning negative. And you say, I see how that went. I was leaning positive. And then you leaned negative just like I thought you were going to. And then the momentum just took over. So I'm going to do my best to hold my own positive thought. Now, that's hitting it way too head on. That's too much conversation. That's not his bandwidth. He will not hear those words. That's wasted breath. Don't do that. Don't say that. Just do that. Get out ahead of it. So here's this person, and there are wonderful, wonderful things about, and not wonderful, wonderful things about. You find easy existing matches. What does that mean? You find the things that are easy to think about regarding that person that feel good. Don't do it for the other person. Do it for yourself. Don't do it to change the other person. Do it to substantiate, to affirm your point of attraction. When Esther first started understanding the law of attraction thing that we talked about incessantly right from the day we met her in this way, when something wonderful would happen, she would say, I did that. And then it wasn't long before when something not so good happened, she'd say, I did that too. And now we encourage her to connect the dots no matter what happens. Connect the dots, meaning I was feeling that way and I got this. Therefore, I can see that nothing outside of me created this. This is my creation. And then we'd like it, in light of what we've been talking about here today, moving forward as we have as a group. I did that. I did that. I created this unwanted thing. I'm glad I have the license to do that, since words don't teach. I'm glad I was able to flesh that vibration out and see the result that it brought. I'm glad I was able to, since I didn't see down the path ahead of time, I was able to live it out in manifestational form and then retrospectively understand how I got there. Start owning what you've got, no matter what it is, and that will empower you then to get more of what you want and fewer experiences that you don't want. Because when you think about it, stay with us, this matters. Let's say you leaned the other way. Let's say that it bugged you so much, some of the things that the other is leaning toward, that you just gave in and leaned there too and complained about it. And leaned there too. Focused on unwanted, 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 unwanted. Well, one of two things will happen. You either create a relationship that neither one of you want, or you'll go separate ways. So here's a sort of drum roll that you could apply to this conversation. You can focus on unwanted, or the relationship can just go away altogether. And when you put it in that stark terms, you don't want that relationship to go away altogether, just the parts you don't want. But you can't say to somebody, I like this and this and this about you, but I don't like this and this and this about you. So bring to me the things that I like and don't bring to me the things I don't like. You see how that's working out in the world? That never works out, because there's no such thing as no in a universe that is attraction-based. There's only yes. So when you look at what you don't want, you get it. When you look at what you do want, you get it. When you really get adamant about what you don't want, you get more of it. When you really get focused on what you do want, you get more of it. In other words, you are in control of what comes to you, because you've lived enough life to ask for way good things. And your inner being knows what all those way good things are. Your inner being knows how you feel about everything that you've ever lived and what your preference is about everything that you've lived. And your inner being is doing everything in its power, which is a whole lot. Focus, source energy, focused upon your preferred desires about everything. And all you got to do is just feel good and be there and get that. That's why our friend wants you to think more like a whale. Just let it be, rather than trying to think it into being. Is any of this making sense to any of you? Are you mad at us that we've been teaching you deliberate creation for all these years, and now we're just asking you to feel your way to it? We're asking you to focus your feeling and watch what happens. Because, friends, without exception, in this room, you have done step one admirably. If you could see the contents of your vortex as we do, you would like yourself so very, very much, but that's conditional. We liked you before you did it. A little more goofing off. A little more loving yourself anyway. A little less taking score. Good?
Yes, definitely.
Really
Thank
good.
you.
Yeah, really good.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Hi.
You might be.
All right. I knew that you were going to call me too. Everyone keeps saying it, so I guess I might as well say it. And
Don't say it unless you mean it.
I know. Okay.
And don't say it to wish for it. Own wherever you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all right. Because where you are is really all right. That's really the strongest message that we'd like you to leave this gathering with. I'm doing good, I'm doing good, I'm doing good, I'm doing good. And it's getting better and better and better.
Yeah. Okay, my question is, let me try to put it together in an easy way. So, I'm a master creator. I feel like I am a visionary. I am so good at easily bringing things forth. And one of the things I wanted...
What's your secret?
Getting in the vortex. I'm getting in the sweet spot. Yeah. Seeing all the miracles and the alignments.
Noticing them as they come, and not demanding that the whole thing be all done, but savoring it as it happens.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I did a really good job of finding the love of my life. Yeah. And bringing the neighborhood of my dreams. Yeah. And bringing things forth. And I love when you talk...
Do you feel a butt coming on?
No buts.
Ah.
No buts.
Then the setting it up did feel a little contrasting.
Okay. Yeah.
Your setup feels a little contrasting.
There's some dichotomy. For sure.
Yeah.
I love when you talk about tuning. I feel like I tune to the love of my life, and I'm like, some of the aspects that I had before are not there in the same way. I feel like in my career, in my businesses, they're just different. And I feel like I'm having to reinvent the wheel a bit, and I'm okay with that. But
so are you saying that in some ways ways that really are working, you're calibrating to your inner being. But now you have this love of your life, you're calibrating to that person some instead of your inner being.
Yes.
Well, don't do that. But,
Okay.
so why would one do that? We touched on this earlier, but what is the impulse to get somebody else to get you? Why does it matter to you that somebody understands you? Because your natural bent, your natural beingness, your vibration that is seeking harmony. It's your nature to seek harmony. If you're not seeking harmony with your inner being, you're going to seek harmony with whatever is closest to you or loudest. You have to train yourself into the calibration with your true path rather than the calibration with whatever's around you. Have you ever known someone that they say, I'm going to do this, and then somebody says, well, if I were you, I'd do it this way. And they say, oh yeah, I'm going to do it that way. And then somebody says, oh, well, if I were you, I'd do it that way. And they say, okay, yeah, I'll do it that way. Because everybody's got a different idea, and they are not calibrated to their own desires. So they're going this way and this way and this way. Now that's not the way we would describe you, but it is it's not even a phenomenon, it's a sort of thing that's happening now that you have someone that you really want to please. But do you know how you really please someone? By being really true to who you are. By being authentic and by being consistent. If you find yourself not feeling so good and you're around your lovers or your family or somebody and you feel out of sync, say to them, I feel out of sync. I don't want to demonstrate this to you. I've got some momentum going. Excuse me, I'm going to get off to myself. I'm going to get feeling better. And when I do, I'll be back. Then go. Get feeling better so that they know. You see, this alignment that we're talking about, it's not like a college degree where once you get it, it's yours forevermore and you've got the plaque on the wall to prove it. It is or it isn't in the moment. And you can tell the degree of your alignment by the way you feel. And so just let alignment really matter to you. This is a hard thing to say to somebody. I love you a lot, but I love my alignment more. And you're going to discover that because you're going to see that I care so much about alignment. And the other might say, oh, so you're going to be selfish. You're going to be selfish and please yourself. And you say, actually, that is true. I am going to harmonize with my true self so that I can give all of me to you. If I don't harmonize with my true self, I got nothing to give you.
Why is it that I feel like I play so well? Why do we forget to play, or why do we get so caught up?
You forget because that's how you play better and better. How would you ask for an improvement? How do you know if you don't live it? If someone's learning to walk, a little tiny kid falls down, you don't say, get up, you little dummy. You know that it's got to fall down in order to understand the difference between standing up and falling down. Nobody can ever find their balance if they don't not have their balance.
Okay, can I ask one more thing? I think that Esther is so incredible at translating this. And there's one of
You know why?
Ooh.
Because she had a lot of momentum of a quieted mind and didn't even know it. She was whale-like. In the sense that she was never, or not for long, in a position where she was having to defend things. Jerry would say, as they would drive, and she wouldn't say much, and he'd say, what are you thinking about? And she'd say, nothing, and she meant it. She was thinking, there's a cow, there's a barn, pretty barn, there's a tree. She wasn't thinking, there's an injustice that needs to be righted. She wasn't thinking, oh, I hope he doesn't run off with somebody else. She wasn't having those thoughts. She was present in the moment and satisfied with what she was seeing and powerfully reaching for more.
So when you find something that you love, let's say, it makes me think about this work that Esther does.
That we all do. This is not Esther's work. You all created this conversation today. You brought to it who you are and what you want. You launched your rockets of desires. All of your inner beings joined in. Esther is a good receiver of the cooperative components that you all are about. But you are the creator of your own reality.